week's Fireside Chat with Jesse. I am joined today by Jim Ryan, manager at Sandhills Global. Thanks for joining me, Jim.
Hey, Jesse, not a problem. Looking forward to it.
No, I'm glad to have you on here, Jim. For the people who might not be familiar with yourself, do you mind just kind of making a quick introduction in your
Yeah.
career?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like you said, Jim Ryan with Sandhills Global, the equipment lease and finance manager over here. Been in this spot for about the last year. Primarily has been my heavy focus. Have dealt with different banks and FIs over my time here at Sandhills, which has been since 2015, primarily on the equipment auction industry. And then, yeah, about the past year, transitioned over to kind of spearhead this project here moving forward. So it's been awesome.
So prior to how long have you been with Sandhills, Jim?
2015 is when I started on the
Uh,
equipment auction side of things, and just, went through the ebbs and flows of the equipment world. And then, really for us as a company, and, there's some opportunity on this side of things. And, you know, uh, gave me the option to kind of focus on this full time, which has been fantastic.
Sure.
And looking forward to many more. So,
Perfect, perfect. And for those people who aren't familiar with Sandhills, as we talked about a little bit before recording, I've been
yep.
seeing you out there. I've been seeing, I get the weekly reports and everything, but still want to learn more about the business. Do you mind just kind of giving a quick introduction?
Yeah, essentially, it's tough to pinpoint down. Sandhills Global is our parent company.
Sure.
I think for anybody that's in this industry, especially if you're on the asset side of any bank or FI, you're going to know us from the equipment sector, which is the retail sites of truck paper, machinery trader, tractor house, and auction time. We're the space in the rolling stock equipment world essentially. So that's kind of what people know us by. We're really a technology company. We've been collecting data from dealers that we work with, from auctions, different auction results from everywhere we can get them since 78. So we have a ton of data. It's kind of been our drive on this side. And obviously our touch and feel on the equipment world have allowed us to kind of grow this realm and give just different tools and options to different banks and FIs that are out there, especially on their asset side moving forward. So
And you're headquartered in?
Lincoln, Nebraska is where we're
Okay.
headquartered. We got about 1,000 employees here in Lincoln. We have offices. We're global. Our secondary office in the U.S. is in Scottsdale, Arizona. Actually, we have a big IT office down there, and then we're globally. We're in South Africa. We're in Manchester. We're in Madrid. So we have offices globally, but headquartered here out of Lincoln, Nebraska. And there's about 1,000 here in Lincoln. So.
Perfect. We won't talk about Husker football. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
maybe
Hey, we're
volleyball.
looking up this year compared to most, so we'll move forward. We'll move forward on that one though for sure. So,
I used to I used to work for a company headquartered in Omaha, and I
oh
went
yeah,
to I went to one. I wanted to go to one Husker game, and I think it was that
yeah,
BYU game where they lost on a Hail Mary.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
you're just kind of like, come on. It's like,
It is. I will say this though, especially probably for you for being an outsider, the environment is second to none. There's no
it's
doubt about
it's it's fantastic. I was just at what point do we
it.
sit down? Like
Yeah, if you're an avid college football fan in general, like it should be on your bucket list to attend a game because I mean, 200 and I think we're pushing 270 some sellouts now, so of 90,000 plus. So I mean, it's a pretty surreal experience. There's no doubt.
sure, sure.
Yeah.
So you've been in equipment finance for a little over a year.
Yep.
You mentioned so. Let's
Yep.
talk about that transition if you don't mind. How did you guys want to target equipment finance, and then what are you kind of seeing in this industry?
Yeah. It was definitely not planned. It kind of just, for me at least, it was a good opportunity to make the move. From being on the equipment auction industry, I had always worked with banks and FIs from time to time in that side of things. Just through different auction companies or auction companies that we work with. I've always worked through them a little bit. Really, I would the pandemic pushed a lot of things for us, a lot of agendas on that side. We started to have, when we started diving into these market reports and creating these market reports from the data that we have, we really started getting a lot of banks and FIs reaching out to us, very interested in the market reports, what could we do with that at that point in time to just further this? We realized obviously from our side there was a ton of assets out there, whether your lease return repo, etc. Obviously that's magnified now, coming off the pandemic and the way things are now. But it was a real opportunity for us to just tap into that, to be a useful asset to everybody in the industry. With those market reports, with our VIP tool and kind of some equipment valuation stuff we do, end of the day, if we're all priced right, if you're a banker and FI and you're priced right and you're doing things right on that side, it's better for the whole industry. Like we've seen, I think, all coming off the pandemic, when prices were sky high to compared to where we're at now. Like we see the benefit if we would have just stayed more even keeled than all the ups and flows and highs and lows. So, if we could bring something back to that, it was really something we wanted to do. And for me, it was really right time, right place. I went to Alpha in Orlando and was down there. Um, Met some customers down there. Ball kind of got rolling to where, okay, what could we do with this space a little bit here? We have a lot of options to help with. So I kind of made the decision to move over, from the equipment auction industry, and really focus more so on this full time. So it's been a good transition. It's been busy, wildly busy, but it's there's a lot of good people in this industry, and people that are wanting to learn, and it's a new way of doing things a little bit for some people. And I think it's something we can, at least from our side of things and mine personally, have an impact on it moving forward, and maybe create a better way to do things than what we've always used to be, used to. So
Sure, no, and data is powerful. And if you've been collecting it since 1978,
yeah,
you have cycles of data in there and
yeah,
everything else. And I would think you mentioned the pandemic, like residuals, like that's what I'd be thinking. It's like,
yeah.
have residuals come down at all on the
It
used equipment?
is. It's wild. We get a lot. I work with a lot right now. We have on our side, we have a currency finance arm as well, which is known in the industry. We're in app flow. We're creating a ton of apps. We're with a lot of direct lenders, but so that comes up a lot is, where do you set those at now? Coming off of, a lot of times they'll go back 5 years. Well, where we were at 5 years ago is way different than where we are today, and probably where we're going to be 5 years from now. So like, how do we find a happy medium on that end for sure? So
Sure, not only that though, with delivery times and those interest rates, I
oh,
mean, interest rates have calmed down a little bit, but
yeah,
like, I mean, I would think about going back 12 months ago when the Fed was raising them on a regular basis.
yeah,
You sign something and there's an 18-month delivery on it. When
yeah,
it comes to 18 months, you can't
yeah,
get it that same as original. The residual is still going to be worth it. So that's where
yeah,
that data, I can imagine, is just extremely.
yeah. It's wild, and it's even still, yeah. I mean, it's calmed down some on that end, but it is just a really wild time. Like I feel like we've gone, pre-pandemic, through the pandemic, and now after. We've done something which traditionally takes decades to do, and we've done it
Sure.
all in a span of 5 years, not even 5 years. So it's been kind of wild to see for sure. So
That's uh that's great. And then so on the auction side, was there like
yeah,
trade associations affiliated with that
yeah,
particular?
yeah, a lot more of probably more on the state level than you
Okay.
are. There's obviously NAA, which is National Auctioneers Association, which is always a big thing, for a nationwide event. But it becomes more on the smaller scale, statewide run organizations. We participated even really before we dove into, primarily Alpha and NEFA. Now we're branching off even more than that. We always attended. We had a couple years there where we were attending, just trying to gather some info and see where we would fit in this space. But yeah,
Sure.
auction side's been primarily more of a state level than it would be anything else. So
Did you ever get to actually be an auctioneer?
I didn't. I didn't. I had numerous people try to push me on that end. I've given it
I
a
was gonna say,
valiant effort.
if so, can you rattle off some of your things real quick?
I will not be rattling anything off. I've given it an honest go a couple times. I've been around some really good auctioneers throughout my whole time, and some really good friends are still in the auction industry and still auctioneers. But it is a wild profession. It's very cool if you ever get a chance to listen to it or be one. But it is. it's cool. It's a fun deal, but no, not for me. I'm not going to venture down that road. So
That's fair. It's like at some point, it's like just drop the hammer, just drop the
I
hammer,
know,
stop the board,
I
stop.
know. Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Yep, yep,
So, from a technology perspective,
yep,
on the auction, I want to go back to the auction side if you don't mind.
yep, yep.
Um, in person, online. I mean, I'm assuming COVID probably fast tracked a lot of the online presence. Um,
Yeah, yeah, it did, and I was pretty heavily involved on the auction side, pre-pandemic, during pandemic, and a little bit, post, after, and even really now, even on this bank and FI side, and this whole new side for us, I'm still directly dealing with it. I'm dealing with a lot of the asset sides of these banks and FIs, and helping to facilitate those. But yeah, the technology is a big piece. I truly feel like it was something that was going to happen in that industry. The pandemic sped it up. It made it happen now rather than, who knows, 10, 15, 20 years from now. It's tough because I've been the boots on the ground, the old school, been at auctions, help set them up, what everybody remembers on that equipment side. But really, this is the way the world's going now. And if you think of just our daily lives, and as far as technology goes, and the implementation of AI and other different things like that on that technology side. Like, it was a space that it needed the progress. Pandemic forced it. I think I shouldn't say everybody, a lot of people came out a lot better post wise. There's a lot of friends that I have in the industry, in the auction industry alone, that said, if it wasn't for the pandemic and us forcing this, we'd never be where we're at now. And, they've created a whole new realm and sector for their business. So, I mean, it's an overall a good thing. There's no doubt about it. It works for some, it doesn't for others. But I think as an industry overall, it was a win. There's no doubt. So,
Sure. And then I guess one of the challenges that I see from the auction side and some of the sites that I go on, not equipment, but it's
yeah,
like the latency of it or something doesn't like that to
yeah,
me seems like a forever challenge or from a security perspective. Are you seeing
yeah,
any of that stuff or how do you guys
yeah. It does. Like, obviously, we have our own time platform, Auction Time, which is facilitating a lot of bank and FI stuff now. It's a definitely a different world. Whether you're doing like a hybrid type auction where you're hearing an auctioneer and trying to bid online, or whether you're straight online. Yeah, end of the day, it's technology. So, between latency, depending where you're at, Wi-Fi connection, whatever, it's not the easiest thing in the world for sure. There's always going to be perfections to it, but really, there's no other spot you're going to be able to sell a piece and be able to connect bidders all over the world with one click of a button. Like, it's pretty amazing if you think about it. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into making that happen, technology wise, behind the scenes for sure.
so bleeding edge of technology, cutting edge, or trying to stay somewhere in the middle?
As far as Sandhills goes,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say definitely cutting edge. We really are. We push that envelope a little bit. We've really become a technology company on this end. Between we host over 7,000 websites for different dealers and auction companies, so we're kind of in that space. Obviously, our platforms that we have, for the equipment industry. So we're ever cutting edge, ever evolving. I feel like if you want to be in this space, you need to have that mentality. Obviously, there's steps along the way. You need to make sure you're doing things correctly, and things are going smooth before you run before you walk type deal. But we try to be on that cutting edge, and I really feel that we are. I mean, we provide a lot of stuff in the industry. When the pandemic happened and people were having to go to online only auctions, we'd already been doing that. We've been doing that, for 5 years before that. So we really had an edge in that space, to where this is something we've already been doing. We were ahead of the curve on that piece. So when the pandemic happened and COVID happened, we were really able to reach out and help a lot of people in that sense, and bring something to them that we'd already been doing. It wasn't new for us. We knew how to navigate these waters, and really be a viable asset to everybody and different businesses out there, which was awesome. So I would definitely say more cutting edge than anything else.
Well, perfect. And then from a reception perspective in the EF space,
Yeah,
I always found that banks are a little bit more conservative, to say the
yeah,
least, but
yeah,
now even more conservative. So independents to me seem like they'd be the most viable option for
yeah,
San. But I
yeah,
know you do some business with banks as well.
yeah.
particular segment that you're finding the most traction in?
You know, I wouldn't say necessarily a certain segment. I think our reception overall has been really good. It wasn't us really coming into this space trying to force anything on anybody. It was a matter of like, hey, here's what we have for tools. What will benefit you? And as we get working, whether you're an FI bank or whoever you may end up being, the more we work with them, I think the more the trust level becomes there. For me personally, I know it's that way, but if we're able to put some market reports out there that is, benefits them and helps them, okay, next step is, when you need some, values on equipment, we're in their mind already to where like, okay, I can go here and have some trusted info and work with them. And so, really for me, it's really been an overall pretty darn good reception. I just think we provide a lot of tools in the industry that's helpful to a lot of companies, regardless of what side of the fence that you're on. And so it's been good. I think the biggest thing is anything is just educational piece. Again, there's a lot of people that don't know who we are. You see Sandhills Global, you have no idea. So it's a lot of education, but I think once they're in and fortunately for me, I've worked with some heavy hitters that are in the industry. And so that word of mouth is obviously always good. You're in that sector, word kind of travels fast. And so we've had to get some good connections that way. But end of the day, it's educational, and we're here to help provide something, not to really push anything on anybody. It's just, hey, how can we improve your bottom line and benefit your day to day? So,
Nope, absolutely. And then when you put out those market reports on a weekly basis,
yeah.
it's like you want to show enough, but not too much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
yeah,
You want
good
to, I'd
balance.
rather them ask questions. Yeah. Than just me giving it all out there for sure. Yeah. But I mean, that's what it is. I know it's in the day and age we live now, everything's done via email and you don't have a lot of direct communication with people. But, it's one of those deals. If you can just get in front of somebody for 5, 10 minutes, can really give them a sense of, what's beneficial to them or what other tools are there to help them. So it's been a cool journey so far. There's a lot to do still, I think, but I think people are coming around to the idea of what tools are we have at our disposal that are going to benefit them and their teams. So it's been awesome.
That's an interesting comment you just made with like technology today.
Mhm.
I had two opportunities I've been working on for a while, and I was not
Yep.
getting email responses,
Yep.
text
Yep.
messages,
Yep. It
immediate
is.
responses. It's so to me, I think that's kind of borderline. Is this unprofessional or
Yeah.
not? Because
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
but hey,
I
it works.
know. It does though. I take that leap once in a while as well. It's like, you're trying to connect and the emails aren't getting answered. I'm just gonna to me, if their cell phone number is in their signature, it's probably okay to reach out to them. So it's like, I put mine in there. I have no issues with people reaching out to me that way. But it is though, it's just a different way to connect with people, and I think when you can get sometimes maybe away from the email or the typical conversations, the way we communicate, it's no different than face to face. I think if you get face to face in front of somebody, you can get a better feel. So I'm all about that, but it's just one of those deals. Though. It's what we have to adapt to. It's the times. So
Absolutely. Now, the unfortunate part is if they have read receipts on and then they still don't answer it, and then you're just like, wow,
it,
okay,
yeah, yeah. Then it's time to take a step back, probably. So yeah, yeah, right.
I'm
That's
going
funny.
back to old school mail.
Yep, snail mail. Here we go. Drop in the mailbox. Yep, yep. That's funny.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So I ask everyone, Jim, who comes on this program to give me a little fun fact about themselves. So
Boy,
anything you'd like to share?
fun fact. Gosh, I'm an avid sports fan. Obviously, huge Nebraska fan. Any sport I'm really a fan of. Played basketball in college. I try to be an avid golfer now. Like we talked earlier, just life happens. You don't golf as much as you'd like to, but I think sports is just it depends on what you're playing in there, but it can be the ultimate team game. Like it is crazy the connections you have on the sports side of things to where you may be beating somebody new, but hey, we like the same team or we like the same sport. Guess what? Next thing you know, you're talking for an hour. So it's kind of wild the connections you have there. But that's probably it's just something different. I'm a very big avid sports fan across any sport. So something fun
No,
fact about me, I guess.
no. I mean, so did you go to Nebraska?
I did, yeah. I played basketball for a couple years at a smaller college in Northwest Iowa, and then finished out my degree at the University of Nebraska. So yeah, I'm a Cornhusker through and through. So
Perfect. Perfect.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing regarding sports, and I don't know if you coach any of your kids' teams or not,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I moved from New York to, well, actually New Jersey to Arizona in 2010. It's like
yep,
didn't really know down here, and then it's like,
yep,
oh, you can coach kids' teams, and then it's I think some of
yep,
my closest friends out here are around
yep.
his baseball that he's been playing for the last like 10 years.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of wild when you have kids and you start doing that coaching realm. It's like a whole new friend tree kind of gets created on that side of things, and it's cool because we're all there for one deal. And it's all of our kids playing together, and it's a cool camaraderie. I guess is the cool thing to say about it. I mean, I remember from growing up, you're playing sports and it's obviously ever evolving and there's traveling teams now and it's different, but you still have that small
Sure.
tight knit group of parents that you're always with. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I just like the pressure that these kids are on now. I mean, Jeremy plays baseball year round, and
Yeah,
it's like all these things. You're just like, God, man,
I
don't
know.
go try to play something else. Go play
I
football. Go
I know. I
something.
know. You try to almost keep them in a bubble, like just to protect them almost a little bit and not get them burnt out. But it's like it feels like it's the world we're in now. It's way different for now than it was when I was growing up. I'm sure the same with you. Like I just none of that existed.
Yeah,
You
no,
played all four sports in school and you hung out with your buddies year round, and that was it. That
right,
was the world. It was easy, and simple, but it's way different now, way different. So
no,
yeah,
absolutely,
good, bad, or indifferent. It's just different.
yep,
So,
yep,
but
no,
yeah,
that's fair. So I guess kind of in closing here,
yeah.
Jim, why should someone want to do business with Sandhills?
I think as a whole, Sandhills as a whole, and me personally, we're very relationship based. If it helps you and your team out, if I can give you some tools and some info that's going to help your day to day or your team, or help you on a remarketing side that's going to increase your bottom line, like that's what this is all about. I very much so look at it as a team effort for me. um I don't need the badges or the pats on the backs. Like, hey, if I can help you out at the end of the day and I can bring something to your team or your day to day that's going to influence you or impact you moving forward, my job's done, Sandhill's job's done. We want to work as a team effort on this more than anything else. So I think that's probably the biggest thing is, we're not trying to force our way into anything. We want to be a fit for you as much as you want us to be a fit for your company. So if we can work together, end of the day, teamwork's going to make this happen for sure.
Perfect. Well said. And it's exciting to watch you guys grow over the last year, and I'm excited to see what the future of an equipment finance for Sandhills Global is, Jim.
Absolutely, buddy. I appreciate you having me on today.
Yeah, no, thanks for your time, and hopefully our
Yep.
paths cross sometime here in the near future.
I'm sure they will, man. If you ever need anything, let me know.
All right, thank you. Thanks,
All
Jim.
right. Thank you, sir.
All
Yep.
right.